Dueling Dialogues presents His and Hers with Grace Matthews, The Hammer, and Connor Murphy.
Welcome to episode 5 of His and Hers with Grace Matthews and The Hammer in the heart of the USA, Springfield, Missouri. Hi, you two.
Hello.
Hey, bud. What's going on?
Not much. You guys surviving over there?
We are. I mean, it's kind of a cold May. March was warm. I mean, like really warm. We got all excited. We planted all this stuff. Now, April and May are like practically freezing.
Yeah. This is our second year of it being really cold here, and I think we might be having a mini ice age or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Global warming, remember?
Yeah, global warming, right.
I don't know where it's at, but it's not here.
Exactly.
It is not here, but I will say that we popped the top off the pool yesterday, and I can hardly move today. That's hard work, but we're hoping for warmer weather now.
Good.
Because normally that would happen about 3 weeks before now. But it couldn't because we're still dipping down into the 30s and the 40s at night. So
yeah, I know.
crazy weather.
Yes.
So, thought for the week, I guess, kind of, because we do this once a week. Move the coffee table. It's so worth it. The Hammer and I, at the very beginning of quarantine, we moved the coffee table, moved one of the chairs out of the living room, moved the coffee table over. We did it at first to practice dance, then suddenly we found ourselves doing yoga, meditation, just about whatever you might think
Walking.
of. Walking. Walk.
Oh.
And, you know, I have my own yoga routine that I've integrated with the Hammer, and it's worked out very well. He is getting tight.
Right on. So,
I'm not kidding. It is working.
So
Bring on the Speedo.
Are you still missing the gym, though?
Yeah. Mentally I do, and I really hate to say this. God, do I hate to say this. The results that I've gotten from doing the cardio and the yoga is much better than I've ever got at the gym.
Wow.
And I really hate to admit that. And now probably none of my friends at the gym will ever talk to me again.
Well, the gym's kind of the guy thing for you, though, right?
That's
where you go. You see your friends and stuff.
Yeah, you know, that's where you tell your stories and all that stuff. And
yeah, I've heard all the stories.
yeah, that's the bad thing, you know. I don't have anybody here to lie to, you know, and fabricate those old stories, you know. She goes, but now, wasn't it that way? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
honey. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for running that one for me.
But I do want to say, you know, thanks to your suggestion about you can find anything on YouTube. That's true. We have also used 3 people's videos that I would just like to point out. Leslie Sansoni, Walk.
Okay.
Try that chick's videos. It's free. Just get on YouTube. Jenny McClellan.
Yep.
She has a lot of just about everything. Yoga, cardio, weights. She's got some great videos. She's funny. She's real. I mean,
Imperfect.
She is imperfect and awesome. And then Ligea Butler.
Yep.
She has some great, more traditional yoga moves. These are people, and I'm sure there's many more out there. Those are the ones we've used, and I just wanted to mention them because it's awesome. You don't have to go to a gym to be in shape. You don't even have to have that much room.
Right.
You know, we got lots of places we could go in our house and have more room, but there is nothing more comforting than moving the coffee table over in our living room in front of the TV and just doing our thing. Even when we do our own yoga routine, we play meditation music, and it's an awesome thing to do.
Yeah, just the meditation music calms the nerves, I think.
Oh yeah, and it calms the dog. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it puts him in a trance like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, we have a spa channel on our cable box. So I often put that, especially to sleep. Actually helps me sleep. Within 30 seconds, I'm out cold.
Wow, I need that.
Yeah, I am too, but it
Maybe
really
we
doesn't
should
matter
try
what I'm
that.
listening to.
Yeah. So again, everything's going great. We've had a lot of listeners, but I want to reiterate, why us? Why this subject? His and hers. That's a big subject. We will cover a lot of territory. Right now, we're talking mostly about relationships and about quarantine and about the world, the new world.
Right.
You know, nothing's the same. And why us? Because we're really bad at the entire concept of relationships. Okay? However,
Me too.
this is how we learn. Okay?
Exactly.
And we make mistakes, yet somehow we manage to have more good days than bad days.
Yeah, when I told my ex that I was doing this show, she started laughing hysterically.
See, it can be done.
Yes, but she just found it really funny that I would be, some sort of relationship expert. But none of this is coming from me.
Yeah,
I'm just
we do
sitting
not
here.
claim to be any experts whatsoever.
Yeah.
We just-
I mean, the people that do it right, I guess out of the gate, and I know some of them. I really do. I know people that do it seamlessly.
It's all show.
Surely it is. Surely it is. But anyway, Venus, Mars, male, female, yin, yang, that's what we're talking about. Okay? And, we want to be better people. So what? Today we're talking about, we like to talk a lot about articles that appear in Psychology Today. This one's by Amy Morin. And, 13 things mentally strong people do.
Okay.
Or they don't do, excuse me. They don't do.
Okay.
And we're going to see what we think. Number one, they don't waste time feeling sorry for themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, are you a person that feels sorry for yourself?
No.
I'm not either. I'm really not. And I do believe it's counterproductive, but we all know people that do.
Everybody has that person, though, that does,
absolutely.
Woe is me.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could hang them with a brand new rope and it wouldn't be perfect.
Okay, and the advice here is that if you are prone to feeling sorry for yourself, and when the going gets rough, train your brain to exchange self-pity for gratitude. Be grateful. Find something in your life to be grateful for.
Perfect.
Or I tell you what, we had a basketball coach here once, and he wasn't necessarily my favorite because he was very ultra-religious, but one day we went to practice, and the story I'm talking about, Barry Henson.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
he's now a coach someplace else. He went in, and the guys were all like, "We lost the ball game. We can't play ball." And he loads them up, and he takes them to the burn unit at the hospital.
There you go.
And you know what? They didn't have another day like that, and the rest of the season was a winning season.
Wow. Good coach.
And this kind of reminded me of that. So,
yeah, I always tend to look at the positive in everything negative. Try to figure it out. Sometimes it's 2 years down the road, but whatever.
There is, and that's a good thing because, like I always say, you cannot see light if there's darkness. Right. You don't know if you have something good if you haven't seen something bad.
Exactly.
Because it takes the yin and the yang to,
Well,
you gotta know.
You gotta visit hell before you know what heaven's like.
And that's a song by the Ozark Mountain Daredevils.
If you want to get to heaven.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got to mention that. Okay, number 2, give away their power. They don't give away their power.
Okay.
And one thing she says is, my mother-in-law makes me feel bad about myself. Well, you can't let your mother-in-law make you feel bad about yourself.
Right.
First of all, that kind of goes into the self-pity kind of thing. You know, if our mother-in-law makes me feel bad, then I get to drown in self-pity.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So you don't give away your power, you know? If a coworker makes you feel bad about you, then you've given them that power to do so.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Just stay away from them.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be best friends with every one of your coworkers. You just got to be able to work with them. You don't have to go have drinks with them.
That's right.
I kind of tend to do the opposite. If somebody insults me, I'll stand my ground and let them get it all out. And once they're all done, I just say, "Okay, are you done yet? Do you feel better?"
Yeah. Yeah, because we know that when people do that, it's about their own stuff.
Yeah,
it's not about
stuff.
you, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So here's one that I think the Hammer will have some stuff to say about, because COVID-19 changed a lot about how he deals with things at work. But don't shy away from change.
This is someone that's so OC that he did the same routine and lifted weights for almost 40 years. So, but I'm not OC.
I'm talking
I
about
don't
that
have a problem.
clutter in your office.
Oh, that personal thing that everybody enjoyed. Well, no, true. You got the change was very hard for me to embrace, but the COVID-19 having to do it when you're forced to do it, you kind of find out it's not so bad.
Right.
And you also find out that you can do it and you won't die.
Yeah.
And you can do it, and you know the world doesn't end 2 minutes after you change something.
Yep.
That's very hard for a lot of people to do, especially as we get older and we've been doing things the same way for so long. But you know, now to survive, we're going to have to change because the world is changing so quickly. And with this virus, with other things, if you don't change, you're going to get lost in the shuffle, and they're just going to run over you. And survival, you've got to survive. Change is survival.
I think a lot of people fear the unknown. That's why they don't like change.
Yeah.
Good point.
Particularly people that are ADD. I know that. I have a friend that talks about being ADD, and he says that, like, if I give him a book, I have to tell him the ending.
Okay.
Because it makes him too nervous not to know.
Oh, wow.
And he claims that is a symptom of his very serious ADD, which kind of goes along the lines of what you're talking about. So, yeah. Change is hard for a lot of people, but change is necessary.
Right.
And in light of COVID-19, I think we've all been rushed into change. And
sure.
We didn't really get to think about it. I mean, a lot of change in your life, you know, you can think about it. Well, yeah, maybe I'll take that box of books out later, you know, and then you've got to sanitize your office between each customer. Well, it becomes unreasonable.
Exactly.
And so you have to do it. And then you realize you learned something about yourself that, you know, this really wasn't that bad. In fact, it might even have been a good thing.
Yeah, you don't know. Don't fear the unknown.
Yeah. Okay, next. Waste energy on things they can't control. Do not waste energy on things you can't control. I mean, to a certain extent, I don't know, everything gets back to COVID-19. There are things about this virus we cannot change. We've got to learn to cope despite COVID-19.
Absolutely.
Like many other things in our life, you know? If you can't make a choice on how, let's say, one of your kids behaves, you can give them guidelines, you can raise them in a way that you hope they will make the right decisions. But at the end of the day, you can't control what they do as adults.
Right.
And I think there are a lot of situations like that. I mean, you can't control. I mean, even when the Hammer House customer comes in, he can't control the fact that they paid too much for the last car.
Right.
And they can't get out of this. I mean, there's certain things you can't control, right?
Well, there's lots of things, yeah, that are uncontrollable, and you know, we have to learn to cope with these ever-changing things, and that's going to be a new part of society where you could kind of blow it off. Now you can't. You know, you've got to decide how you're going to go shop. Are you going to wear the mask and the gloves and everything, and then, you know, are you even going to take your clothes off in the garage before you go in the house? I mean, there's lots of things. You have to decide how you're going to handle it.
Yeah.
I use the word next. I imagine all my problems up above my head in a cloud, and I take one thing down at a time, and I ask myself, can I control that? And if I can't, I just toss it out and go next and go on to my next problem.
That's a very good tip. I like that.
So the next. Yeah.
Yes.
Remember the word next.
And if you're like me, you will never run out of a next.
That's true.
That was taught to me by my Reiki master in Australia. Hi, Roscoe.
Okay, next. Okay, it says, don't worry about pleasing others, which I agree with, but I also think that you need to be a good enough person that people will be glad that they ran into you every day.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
for example, you make them feel better than if they had not seen you.
Could be a simple compliment.
Exactly. You don't have to worry about pleasing them, just make their day better.
Right.
You know, and
I
you're
agree.
right. A simple compliment, a smile, you know, whatever.
Exactly.
I don't know if I would say I don't care what people think, but I don't know.
Well, you don't want to think you're a crabby Appleton.
No, and that.
You just but, you know, sometimes a smile and a nod of the head to even a stranger can make their day.
It can make their day, you know.
Exactly.
And I think it's also a place where if we say, oh, we're not worried about pleasing others, I think that's a lot of place where these microaggressions come out.
Right.
So just be kind to everybody, you know, and make their day.
Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Exactly.
The old golden rule.
Exactly. And if you got somebody that's too picky, just, you know, don't be around.
Next.
Next. Okay, next. Fear taking calculated risks. You know, you need to take risks in your life. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of beyond the big risk taking age. You know.
Yeah.
But when you're younger, you have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to take some risks, and you know, I mean, to say you're not going to be fearful, I think you have to do it in spite of your fear. Because you're going to be afraid, and to say that you're not going to be at all afraid, I think is a little silly, but there's a certain amount of people, I guess, that do have the ability to erase fear. Clearly they do.
Well, you know, let's face it, especially in the job market, there are lots of people that don't take a different job or don't take an advancement or something just because they're afraid, or they're afraid to take the risk, and it haunts them the rest of their life. You know, you don't know if it would have worked out, but if you never ever take that risk, you're never going to advance. You're never going to maybe find something new. Maybe that leads you on a different path. Who knows? It's always the status quo is always safest.
I've had to fire. Sorry.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, but you're always going to get what you always got, which is pretty boring.
Yeah, I've fired a few people that have thanked me for firing them because they hated their job, which was, you know, showing in their job performance. That's why I was firing them, but they just would not quit it. So when I finally fired them, they were like, "Oh, I'm free. Hallelujah. Thank you. Bye-bye."
Yeah. Well, you're closing a door, a new door opens, right?
Right.
But you have to close that damn door. Okay? It's just like them sitting there at the job they hated and they're going nowhere in. They're not going anywhere else because they're not shutting that door.
Exactly.
You
So
can't
sometimes
leave that
you need
door
a push.
cracked. Yeah,
Yes,
you
we
do.
do.
That's exactly true. A push,
Yes.
for sure. Good way of putting it. Okay, dwell in the past. Okay, I think you have to learn from the past.
Exactly. I agree there.
You don't want to, but
Don't
also
dwell on it.
Yeah, she also suggests you make peace with the past, so you can live for the present.
Yeah.
And I like that statement. In fact, I'm going to take that away from this article. Make peace with the past.
Right. There you
So
go.
you can move on.
Yes. A lot of times there's a lot of people that it's very hard to move on from the past. You think it was a good time in your life, or you think that it was fun when you were 25-ish, let's say. But you've got to shut that door.
You do.
You've got to move on and say, yeah, that was great. Okay, next.
Next. There you go.
There you go, right?
No, we're loving that word, aren't we? Okay, don't make the same mistakes over and over again. I mean, that seems to go without saying. I mean, if you can't learn from your mistakes, then I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know what to say about you, but we do sometimes make mistakes over and over again. It is ridiculous. It is the definition of insanity, according to Einstein. And I agree. I mean, for crying out loud. I used to, I don't know, I think we used to say something about, damn me once, damn me twice, but a third time, and
Yeah. What was that?
damn you once, damn you twice, but damn me if it's a third time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, that's just true. Gosh, we're supposed to be halfway intelligent, and we should learn from our mistakes. Gosh, it's easy to not see them, but if someone certainly points them out, which someone usually does, say, you've done that before. Don't you think you ought to move on and say, that's all right, that's two, that it's me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest thing to admit, is that it's actually us making the mistake. Where the first time, maybe it's easy to blame on something else. I was young, I was blah, blah, blah. You could come up with 9 million excuses. The second time, you almost got to look within and say, you know what? This one's on me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Number 9 is one that really just disturbs me about people. Do not resent other people's success. I mean, why in the world would you waste time on that?
Yeah, I don't get that at all. Be happy for that person. Move
Absolutely.
on.
I want all of us to do well. And
Exactly.
I like successful people. I like to know what they did. I want to know how they got there. Not, do I want to waste time going, I wish you didn't. That's just silly. That is ridiculous, and there are people that do it all the time, and it is crazy.
True.
I think
Shouldn't do it.
Okay, number 10, give up after failure. That's really easy to do. When you fail, you feel embarrassed and discouraged. Sometimes you feel defeated,
Right.
but you have to pick up and go on.
Yeah, I think people that have to audition for their work, like dancers or musicians or whatever, I think, actors and actresses, that's number one. You're not going to survive if you don't go on, because that one role, that one job is not worth a lifetime of worry. So
Exactly. And, 1, 2 days, 3 weeks, 3 years down the road, it is going to be meaningless.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people that are in mental health trouble, need to remember that what seems like such a tragedy today, a day, 3 weeks, 3 years down the road will be nothing.
Right. And it's also easy just to, like in my business, I'm told no millions of times. But that didn't sometimes mean no. But also, you've got to look at it that sometimes it's just like you were talking about musicians or dancers, or it's business.
Yeah, it is business.
It's nothing
sometimes
personal.
You don't know
People
what they're
take it
looking
personal.
for. Yeah.
Right.
And it's tough sometimes to look past the personal part of it, but you just have to get to where it's not personal. It's not you.
Well, and you don't know what the agenda is always of the person
You don't
choosing.
know the whole thing.
Sometimes you're standing there and you're a 5'10" white woman, and they actually want a 5'7" black woman. I mean, you don't know what their agenda is.
Right.
It's not necessarily, and it doesn't mean their agenda is bad. It just means you don't fit the profile.
Yeah, I think
But
they could
they're not exactly telling you that.
They could take a lesson from salespeople, because for every yes a salesperson hears, there's probably 9 no's minimum.
Exactly, at least. And there's probably some great statistics out there for that. But I bet you are exactly right. Okay, don't fear alone time. I just didn't even relate to this because I don't fear alone time, never have. But I fear being alone and old, but I don't fear being alone for some time.
Right.
So maybe one of you guys can,
All I know
help out with
is
that.
being an only child, you grow up being alone.
Do you hate it though? I mean,
No,
or does it make you like
learn
being
to-
alone? I
you
don't
learn
know.
to- It's just like anything. You learn to cope with it.
Yeah. I agree.
You just have to, that's just part of, I'm going to say this, and probably some people won't like it, but as usual, I say what I think. If you don't like yourself, you're going to hate alone time.
Right. There you go.
Good point.
If
Yeah,
you
good
like
point.
yourself, hey, I'm with me. Hey, I'm a pretty good guy. I can have some fun. I can do this. I can do that. I can make stuff happen,
Right.
I don't get it, but I know there are some people that we have people at work, if they're not talking to somebody or if they're not standing around another, quote, group or other individuals, you would think that the world is going to end. They are not, they are very uncomfortable if they're not around someone. It's weird.
Number 12, don't feel that the world owes you anything.
Right.
I mean, that's really,
That's a
nobody said
millennial
life
thing.
was- nobody, yeah, it
Yes.
is, for sure. And nobody said life was fair, and life is not necessarily fair.
Right.
No.
Okay, but you've got to make your life in spite of, the turmoil,
Quit feeling sorry for yourself.
Yeah, don't feel sorry for yourself. That's just so unproductive. Okay, don't expect immediate results. It takes time. First of all, anything you do, you're dealing with people.
Right.
And people can be thick-headed, stubborn, and very hard to deal with. Takes them, a very long time for you to get through to them. Whether it's a sale, whatever it is you're convincing somebody of.
Right.
You're dealing with people, and people can be stubborn.
Your timeline is not the only timeline.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah, that kind of goes on with the previous one.
Well, I just realized that these are basically 13 things that entrepreneurs don't do. Because
Exactly.
this is great entrepreneurial advice.
It is. It is. So, in light of the fact that people are home and people are having overwhelming feelings about the coronavirus, they're scared to death. A lot of people are scared to death. There are also people that, like we were talking about, they're losing their jobs.
Right.
There's companies that are closing down. There are also people at home that, have bad relationships. They don't have money to feed their kids. We're seeing a spike in domestic issues. So we thought we would go over Jade Wu's 8 strategies to manage overwhelming feelings. And we'll go over those pretty quickly, but she says ground yourself in the present. And she has a technique that I really thought was awesome. It's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You start out with 5. Look around and name, when you feel overwhelmed, name 5 things you can see, whatever it is in the room. A picture, I see a doodle in a cage. You just name 5 things, okay?
Okay.
So what you're doing is you're distracting your mind,
All right.
okay? Listen and name 4 things you can hear. You can hear a bird chirping outside. You hear the screech of the chair. You hear whatever it is you hear. Name 4 things. 3, notice 3 things that you can touch. Okay, you feel your feet touch the cold floor. Okay, you can feel like right now I can touch my desk, the hard desk.
Okay.
Think about how it feels. Is it textured? Is it cold? Is it warm? Okay, next comes 2 smells. If there's a candle close to you, or paper has a smell. Things have smells. I've got a little thing of paint here. I guess I could sniff that.
Well,
wouldn't be a good idea.
speaking of smell, I have a question. Are we all showering yet, or are we still just washing our hands?
That's a good one.
We have graduated to shower.
No, we have. Okay, and 1, find something that you can taste, even if it's cold water.
Booze.
Booze, yeah, I was just gonna
Whatever
say
it
that.
is.
There you go.
Okay, this will distract your mind. Okay, I just found this today. I'm gonna try it because sometimes I think of things I really don't want to. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Okay. Next, clean up your immediate surroundings. We talked about this last week, I think. We talked about don't marry a pig. Know if they're a pig. I mean, just keep things straightened up. You don't have to be, like my mother cleaned everything excessively. And don't get like that.
Don't act like the French.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Oh my
I'm
God.
just kidding.
Okay.
Or am I?
Right.
Yeah. Maybe not. Anyway,
No.
ruthlessly prioritize. Okay, if you've got a list and you're not going to get everything done, prioritize. The Hammer and I make out a list every day. We know we're not going to get the whole thing done,
Right.
but it's there, and we just move. Okay, whatever didn't get done today. Okay, we move it to the next day.
Exactly.
We make that out on a little index card every day.
And that sounds really stupid, but gosh, it's really worked well.
It
You feel
really
like
does
you
work well.
accomplished some things. So what if you only got 2 out of 8?
Yeah.
Right.
That's
If
at
they
least
were the most-
you got 2.
If they were the most important thing, then
Exactly.
okay.
Mountains weren't moved in a day.
No.
That's exactly
There's
right.
always tomorrow.
Exactly. Okay. We hope so, right? Sleep with your head towards the east, Sadhguru says, so that there's tomorrow, but that's another story for another day. Anyway, number 4, stop accidentally multitasking. I think this is speaking to people with ADD where you start something, or old people, like I go into a room and I'm going there to, get an envelope and I start making the bed. You know what I mean? You just
I'm
do
bad
that.
for that.
Yeah.
Yes, me,
stop
that's just a
doing
way
it.
to screw up 2 jobs.
That's exactly right.
Or
But
2
I do
tasks
it
or
all the
whatever.
time.
You
And
just mess up both.
yeah. I went the other day, 3 times I walked upstairs to get the same thing. That's terrible. So, okay, take the next tiny step. When you feel frozen, just take a step towards getting a task done that you direct.
Right.
If there's a phone call you hate to make, just at least look up the number. Make a little card. Work your way up to it.
Okay, good advice.
Follow your impulses. Okay? When you're working on something you're getting distracted and you're not doing a good job, move on to something else, come back.
Right.
Yeah. Hip, hip, hooray.
Yeah, and then this goes along with the list we talked about. Rethink your to-do list, If it's making you overwhelmed, take some crap off.
Right.
Like I said, the Hammer and I, we really like the to-do list. And it also feels like we're planning, and it feels like we're both taking part in home.
Right. You're accomplishing something. You're moving forward.
Exactly.
Plus also together.
Exactly. There you go.
It wasn't that Grace decided it or I decided it. It's we decided it.
Absolutely.
And that way, we sometimes decide not to do this job.
Yeah, we go, okay.
Do you want to do this? No. Do you want to?
have happy
No.
hour, or we could go, clean up the bathroom. Well, I can pretty much tell you what we expect.
Yeah.
This we talked about in the last segment, but radically accept what you cannot do or control.
Right.
We basically already talked about that.
Next.
So if you're getting overwhelmed, go to these 8 items, but 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, really, I thought that's great.
I like it.
I like it a lot. Anyway, we have a little affirmation. I think that affirmations are a great way to start the day out positively or end the day. I think we've had a really good show here today. I'd like to thank you all.
Yep.
We are messengers in love, happy, healthy, financially prosperous, great partners, and parents. We are charitable, energetic, creative trendsetters that experience success every day. Sometimes if you say something like this every day, it sort of becomes true, right?
It sure does. It reminds me of that little girl in front of the mirror that's pumps herself up, that little video. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's so cute. She tells herself how beautiful she is, and she goes on and on. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, thank you much, you guys.
Get the mojo pointing in the right direction, right?
Yeah, move that coffee table. Move that coffee
table.
table.
Yeah, move that damn coffee table. You can also get the dog hair that was underneath the coffee table.
Yeah, for what did you get it?
You can actually get to it, and you don't have to break your back.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye now.